Hey Brandon.
What's going on, Danny? And welcome back, guys. We are here. This is the Tipped Out Podcast, episode 18. This is going to be the second episode in the putting kind of series, I guess you could say. And this is going to be putting setup. So
There's no
hopping right,
kind of about it. This is a series, baby.
I guess you're right. This is a clear cut, clean cut, cookie cutter as the series comes. So hopping right into it without further ado, posture, Danny. What do you see when it comes to posture in the setup when we're putting?
Um, when I'm looking at posture, so first of all, I feel like putting posture can change a fair amount. I mean, do you see that? Do you see it changing more than a full swing posture, or
I would say, yeah, I
no?
would say there's far more like basics or fundamentals or kind of what would you say, like a guide or trends. But yeah, in putting, I think it's definitely more a little more individual and based really on preference and style, right?
And your grip kind of changes it too, because I mean, we all grip a golf club about the same, whereas grip and putting, what depending on what you do,
Yeah.
will change your setup a little bit. But just say in general, it's similar to the full swing posture where we want to see people balanced. Um, but honestly, almost one thing I think with putting that's a little more important than the full swing is comfort. I feel like you have a little bit more room in putting to like be less strict on being, exactly right. Do you agree with me there? Like I really want someone to be comfortable when they're setting up to putt.
Yeah, I definitely, like we've talked about before, I definitely feel it's somewhat of an art form. And like there are basics, there are fundamentals, there is some structure to it, but it definitely is it's like art. It's whatever comes to you and however you feel in that exact moment. I know I definitely probably um no pun intended go against the grain on certain style things when it's, a downhill little slider or a short putt. It's sometimes you just feel more comfortable choking down a little more, placing the ball off a certain part of the face, whatever it may be. So yeah, I definitely think it's individualistic. It changes, and you don't have to be as strict with yourself, I don't think.
Definitely. But with that kind of broad those statements we just made there, I'll get into a little bit of what like I definitely want to see people do when they putt.
Mm.
Um, definitely want your eyes somewhere over the ball about. From my experience, if you are a little inside of the ball, so a little bit towards your body line, that's fine. But I do not want to see people with their eyes on the far side or too far over the golf ball. So kind of
Mhm.
on the ball or a little inside, I like.
If I
Um,
may interject really quick, piece on that. So 100% agree, follow what you said. I never knew it was okay to be on the far side of the ball, but apparently it depends on your eye dominance, if you're left or right eye dominant. So we have one student at our academy here in Port St. Lucie that is, uh, what would it be? I'm right eye dominant and he's left, so he's further over the ball. So that apparently when he looks down the line, it looks straighter. But all of our coaches sign off on
interesting.
it. Apparently, there's some
So
science.
wait, no, this is sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Finish what
that,
you're
that
saying.
was all. Yeah, he's over top of it, and I noticed it one day, and he was like, "No, that's where I've been like set up." And he's like, "On purpose. Like my eye dominance is different." And I was like, "Sure, learning something new every day."
That's super cool. Actually, this works out perfectly because I remember when you showed me this when we were working in Pennsylvania. Is, and I don't know if it's changed for you now, if you've got a better way of doing it, but what ways do you use to kind of establish where your eyes should be or help you get your eyes in the more correct spot when you're putting?
Definitely. So what you're gonna want to do for that is find like the flattest surface possible, even like a carpet in your house or a driveway, parking lot, anything. Some courses don't really have pretty flat lies. So just find a flat lie. Grab two alignment sticks, put one directly in line with your target or the cup, and then put the other one running parallel to that just as we'd be setting up like for an alignment station almost, like we're hitting shots on the range. Now from there, you're going to get into your putter setup, and then you're going to look down that target line, the alignment rod that's going towards the cup. And when you're going to look down that, you put your body to where that line is straight towards the cup. So if you, like Danny said, if your eyes are too far over the ball or over that line, most often you're going to see from right to left if you're a right-handed golfer, and it's going to look like that putt is going left. Now, if you're too far inside, your eyes are too far inside that line, it's going to look like that line is running to the right side of the hole. So all you want to do is get to where your eyes, it depends how much forward bend you have. It depends on your eye dominance, your posture, of course, like that all ties in together. Then as soon as you see that line straight, that's, the depth or the width you should be away from the ball. So great piece Danny said there on the eyes, that it really follows into kind of posture and the chicken before the egg kind of thing. It really depends on how you're setting up to the ball, what comes first.
That's so beautiful, Palmer. That was
Hopefully you can follow along
I
with that. I'm not sure if that was too descriptive enough, but if not, we can put an infographic up at some point. But
no, I think that'll be fine. Um, so kind of what I was just mentioning was I kind of like to look at posture and go, okay, if you can get someone's eyes over the ball and they're comfortable, really the only other real main thing I'm looking at is like their arm structure and their kind of like the position of their shoulders, really. So like if you were to stand tall, like you're gonna get measured, right? You kind of
Mhm.
retract your lats a little bit and you get in kind of in more of a locked in position and your back gets straight.
Yep.
I kind of like that feeling for the most part, and then I can feel like I lock my arms into my rib cage,
Mm.
and that's kind of like the two big posture pieces I look at is like, okay, I can get someone's eyes over the ball. Excuse me. I can get someone's eyes over the ball, and I can get their arms in a kind of more locked in position so that they're going to be using more of like their core to stroke the putt, and then I'm pretty much good from there. What do you got for what you like to see in someone's posture?
Definitely. I like how you said the arms locked into the side. How do you feel? Do you feel there's pressure with that? Because I assume when you mean locked, you don't mean like tense, right? There's a difference between structure and tension. So you
Definitely.
just
Yeah,
feel soft
that's
arm,
well said.
yeah, arms by the sides. Big piece of it is what Danny turned me on to was the core being really effective in the golf swing. When you take that putter back, having the lead side of your core contract, and then as that putter goes through, trail side contracts. When you really find like how Tiger said his glutes weren't firing in the golf swing, this is you want your abs firing in the putts. Now, it's a great thing to practice. Danny, do you feel you have like awareness of it when you're playing a round of golf, or is it kind of something you just know about and it's now like second nature?
I feel like when I first started doing it, I felt
Mhm,
it, but I feel like now it's something I don't even like
mhm.
really think about too much, but I'm definitely doing it. I don't really feel it as much.
Yeah, I think it's really cool for if someone feels they're moving pretty laterally in the putting stroke. There's a lot of drills for that, but what Danny's specifically talking about is when we activate the core, it's going to make us kind of teeter, our shoulders teeter side to side rather than really like wind up as we would in a full swing. All we're
Yeah,
doing is rocking the if you're a right-handed golfer, all we're doing is rocking that right shoulder up and back and then down and kind of a little bit left. But for the most
yeah,
part, we really just want that trail hand to kind of fire down the target line or right down towards the cup. We don't really want to open our shoulders and like pull out of our stance as we would in a full swing. We want to keep it very, like Danny said, structured and kind of just very passive. It's triangular structure of the shoulders, the arms, and the hands that connect to the putter. But then it's definitely a pendulum structured movement with a little bit of that wrist flexibility and fluidity I almost said that word correctly. Fluidity, like we talked about in episode 1 of this putting series. So very cool. What else? What else do you see there? Is there more with the arm structure?
Well, I actually just want to add on to what you were saying because
Yeah.
other than the core way of saying it, talking about the
Mhm.
abs, I like um how you mentioned the shoulders because I
Mm.
feel like what a lot of times what happens with people, especially if like you're working with someone on the range and then one lesson you decide to take them to the green, is they think that they're like turning their shoulders like this when they putt
Yeah.
on a very like upright and um just twisting position, which it's really not, but it's a great way of looking at it with that little tilt and the right shoulder up, left shoulder down, and then vice versa on the way through. Um, and I just want to get a little bit more into the structure of the arms. When we're gripping a putter, we don't have as much side bend as we do in a full swing.
Mm.
So with our right hand gripping, or our dominant hand, let's not say right. Love all the lefties out there. With our dominant hand gripping lower, we're actually with that arm being longer and straighter and you don't have a tilt, so your right shoulder shouldn't be a ton lower than your left. Your
Yeah.
left arm's actually going to be bent quite a bit. And it honestly took me until like this year to have that epiphany of like, oh my God, I don't have to try to like it's okay for my left arm to be like pretty
Wow.
crimped and up in my side. So
I
I
never
honestly have
I
started to
never knew
really
that. I've
feel
never
like,
heard it said like that though. Makes so much
yeah,
sense. I mean,
I I I like came across from watching an Alaska video because he was like talking about the full swing posture and he was like, well, our right hand has to grip lower than our left, so we have to tilt. And I was like, but then I realized I was like, oh, but putting we don't tilt. So but so I've really been liking the feel of okay, I get my left arm on there comfortably and I really feel that crimp and then it almost just runs like right down my shirt seam, it feels like.
mm,
And inside of my arm is right on my rib cage. And then
mm.
it just kind of stays there. And that helps me also help to release the putter and let it swing a little bit as opposed to if that left arm starts pulling away, well, then you're running into the trouble we talked about last podcast with dragging the handle.
100%, dude. I remember the next round I went out, I really focused on that. And it really ties into that piece you said. Like, our left arm is going to be more crimped and shorter. Anytime I kind of missed the putt, it would be a little bit low right. And I was really feeling like I was starting to release the putter head better because I was really thinking about it. And of course, like it's purposely thinking that much into it so I can kind of see what my tendency is, what's going on, kind of think as a coach and not just as a player. Um, but yeah, man, I was really trying to like continuously extend my lead arm, or like I was losing that crimp or that little bit of a tuck. And I started tucking my lead armpit or my shirt into my lead armpit. And that's what kind of kept my arm, like you said, right in front of that shirt seam. Holy,
Searching,
that shirt.
she
I'm
shot
just
by seashore.
I'm just lisping out here. I put my shirt in my lead armpit crevice, and then that stayed right there that whole time. And yeah, I definitely started to roll the rock a lot better. And it's crazy, man. Little things do a lot in the golf swing, let alone the putting stroke. And we both know, man, putting counts.
Putting does count.
Putting does
Go
count.
Broncos.
Last piece here, dude, I want to touch on with the arm structure is and we can kind of have this probably in another part as well. Trying to think a little bit forward. But anyway, the angle at which the putter is sitting and also how that ties into our arms. I think we touched big on that with grip. That's why it's kind of coming back up. But yeah, we definitely want to see the putter be an extension of our arms and not too many crazy angles there. So that's all part about the putter being sold properly or flat on its bottom. That's also how we learn, are we fit properly for that putter? If we can't get close enough to it because it's too long, the putter can't be sold properly, and our eyes are going to be, probably
Definitely.
really, really inside if the putter's too long. Yeah. We can move on. Next, we have ball position, brother.
I actually
Oh,
cut in real quick because what you just
hit me with it.
mentioned, I have a good story for.
I
I
love it.
gave a putting lesson to a member this year who was complaining about his putting constantly. And he had just got a new putter, and luckily it was one of those new pings that was adjustable.
Yeah.
And he is, first of all, he's a very short fellow, and he's got um pretty like he's just pretty short. That's really all it is. But which
Respect
short
for a short
kings,
king.
I'm one of
Yeah.
them, but
Respect.
nothing wrong with it. But I just literally like when I saw the length of the putter he was using, yeah, I was like, oh my God, like he has no chance of getting in a good setup because the putter is way too long. So I just kept shortening it and shortening it and shortening it and shortening it until he finally got into a position where he could get his eyes over the ball and the putter was coming up in a good position on his arm and all that. And that was basically, that was it. Like that helped him so much. And it was just like people don't even realize that.
Yeah, that's
So
huge.
make sure your putter is a good length for you. And there's nothing wrong with being someone who likes it a little shorter. Maybe you need to just like you like bending over more or something like that. Go ahead. I mean, also it has to do with the way you're built. If you got longer arms and you're a short person, double whammy, man. Your hands are way closer to the ground. You're gonna need an even shorter putter.
I'll just walk around close to the ground. My God, my knuckles just drag on the ground. um, yeah, no, that's so crucial. I remember you and I doing that same kind of little bit of a club fitting at Timber Trails as well. A little bit of a putter lesson there. We see that toe up a ton. It's time to probably shorten that putter. And then if you're super heel up, you're just getting too close to it. Um, so yeah, bro, ball position. What do you feel? It's crazy tough and kind of interesting to talk about the putting stuff because once again, ball position really depends on what putter you're using. Are you arm lock? Is it forward? Are you shorter arc? Are you straight back, straight through? So let's just talk kind of the basics or the generics of ball position, and if you have any keys to kind of get into a consistent ball position.
Um, I don't think I necessarily have any keys. I just have
Mhm.
habit.
Okay.
I'm sure you've got something for keys. I know
Absolutely.
my position's a little forward.
Mhm.
Um, Pretty well forward actually, like kind of closer to pretty close to my front foot. I also stand very narrow, so like ball position is going to change more in relation to your feet and your stance if you're really wide as opposed to narrow. Um, I let the putter, I like to have my putter leaning a little bit forward and have it kind of closer to like my left like pec or something in that area. So then I feel like my
Mhm.
ball position gets a little forward. And I just you want to be hitting, you don't really want to hit down on it at all. So I've always erred on the side of hit a little up on it, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm the same way. I'm pretty far forward. I play a Scotty Cameron blade. I too like to have the handle a little bit forward. A great kind of way to check this, or at least to have a consistent ball position. Uh, in the most general of sense, people are either a putter head or like half a putter head from that front foot. So a great way. Um, don't
Excuse
have the
me.
camera angles for it in here, but a great way, you're going to take your putter. If you're lucky enough to be watching on YouTube, you're going to take your putter. This is my foot. Put your putter here while in your stance. Now, the ball is either going to be here at the midway point of the putter or it's going to be at the heel. So now every time you set up, put this right to the inside of your foot, your lead foot, and now you're either going to be a center or you're going to be a full putter width from that front foot. So naturally we're going to be one or the other or err on one or the other side. So just doing that little drill is either going to see maybe why or what your tendencies are. If you're, bless you, if you're
Thanks.
if your tendency is to miss right, it could be from something like your ball position is too far back. That putter is not closing, it's open at the moment of impact. Versus too far forward, it might just be closing a little too much. You might just be pulling it. could be a number of things, but ball position, great way to check that is to use your own putter head. And yeah, so like Danny, I assume you may be in the halfway point of that putter because that's where I'm at. We're kind of rocking the same thing. Um, and yeah, it really depends. Like we said, eyes, and preference, how you like to roll the ball. There's some old pros, dependent on the greens they used to have. You know, they would have more of a pop stroke, a cut stroke.
Yeah.
Very, very artist-like out there.
What would you say? I feel like the most common fault I see is people, for some reason, I'm not sure why, think that they needed to have it right in the middle of their stance, and I feel like I see a lot of people hitting down on the putter. Do you see faults a lot in ball position or no? I feel like that's the most common one I see.
Yeah, I definitely see more back. And usually I see a lot of open, really open stance. Sometimes you'll see closed, but most of the time it's super open, and then it's just people just shoving putts out there on the line, and putter face just stays wide open. Um, number of issues come up with that, but yeah, definitely ball position back and far too open stance. So all we got to be is parallel to our intended target. You know, based on that target line, it feels weird because we're so close to the ball comparative to like say a driver. You know, I struggle crazy with driver alignment because I feel like I'm aimed so far to the left for a right-handed golfer, whereas putting, like I feel like I'm almost closed to the target is when I hit my best putts. You know, lead, like Danny talks about all the time, putting with your trail hand only. I putt my best when I feel like, you know, I take my lead hand off my left hand, I put it on my trail shoulder, and throughout that whole stroke, I'm just keeping that shoulder back and just letting my trail arm kind of fire down the line, down the target line. And when I feel my shoulders stay square or they feel closed to me, uh, the ball definitely starts online and almost feels like it draws back for me. It's a good feeling, and that's definitely when most of the putts are dropping.
That is interesting because I have with putting, I'm the opposite where
Yeah.
because I've told you I tend to push putts. I feel like I consistently I aim left, and then I have
Mm,
to feel like I'm aiming. Wait, no, that's what you said. You said full swing, you feel like you aim left. Putting, you
yeah.
feel like you aim right, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, so then I'm the same, but
Mhm.
I definitely have to feel like if I'm actually gonna be, I probably still to this day, like 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be aimed just slightly left of my target. So for me to really be square, I have to feel like I'm aimed right.
It's weird because the feel versus the real with both of those are crazy. So you actually set up a little bit open in the full swing?
Full swing, probably, yeah.
Probably. I feel like I set up miles to the right. Like I'm super closed and don't know it in the full swing sometimes.
I can get either way, man. There's no like I gotta
I
keep my
get your
shit
point.
in check or else
Yeah,
I'm gonna
100%.
I'll be someone will be like, man, you're aimed way right, and then I'll try to fix it, and then 2 weeks later, someone will be like, you're aimed way left, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Golf's just about like going one way or in one direction a lot, and then just how good is your awareness to know that it's no longer working in that direction. Like that's just how I am, man. I'll be hitting like perfect, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I either take time off or I step away or really working some draws, and all of a sudden I'll hit one hook, and then I'm like, oh no, like it's gone. Now it's work fades, and you hit a slice. Oh
Wild.
no. But
Um, I think we'll touch on this more in later episodes, but
mhm.
while we're there, the
Yeah,
kind of has to do with posture because we got into it a little bit, but just really make sure like you're aware of your putter face being square when you're set up.
huge.
And we're gonna get into that in later episodes, but just keep an eye on that, okay? We'll go into it more, but
Yeah, practice it around the house. Take your putter out before
yeah.
episode 3 of this, and just get in your posture, and then go up to a straight edged object and see if you set up correctly. It's you'll probably surprise yourself based on grip or setup, and could be good or bad. You might surprise yourself. But either way, any last pieces here on stance or stance width. I know we touched on it briefly, but that was our last bullet point here for episode 2 of the putting series.
Was that it? Let me just check.
Yeah, our
Shows
last
I
piece is
lost.
just stance width, I believe.
Yeah, stance width is it.
It is it.
So do you have again, stance width I feel like is more comfort, but I like the thing you mentioned before with the length of the putter grip as a guide.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Yeah, so between your feet, ladies and gentlemen, put your putter grip, and that should be a general or a generic width of stance for you. Definitely Danny's a little more narrow, kind of what is it? I almost said embodies, kind of resembles Tiger setup, right? Pretty narrow, shaft a little forward. Who's super wide out there? I'm trying to think.
we used to be Bryce. Bryce is pretty wide, isn't he?
Yeah, he's arm locked too, right? So
Yeah. I guess
that's tough to
honestly
fish about that ball position.
the biggest thing is that stance width controls that people don't realize is your height. The wider you get, the shorter you get, the narrower you are, the taller you are.
Right.
Which for me, I honestly just got narrower because I switched putters and it's a little longer.
Mhm.
And I've gotten used to it and I've liked it.
Mhm.
But yeah, if I was to use a shorter putter, I would probably just get a smidge wider, but I like being narrow. Like Ricky Fowler's really narrow.
Yeah. I really
He's
enjoy
playing
how
really
Ricky
well now, so
Tiger looks.
definitely some.
Yeah, I really enjoy how Ricky looks over the ball when he's putting. Like, it
Yeah,
just
so do
looks
I.
comfortable, it looks so natural, it looks cool, man. Like, that's someone I definitely want to look at more when it comes to like researching the putter
Putting.
mechanics and just how he sets up. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think my stance kind of changes a little bit. I go from like probably your normal like shoulder width to
Yeah.
as close to as narrow as you. Like right now, I'm definitely trying to work more on the like a little more of an active wrist. Less handle drag. So I feel like I've gotten more narrow and just I don't know, just setting it up, letting it be real natural, and just trusting my reads out there. But
Yeah, man.
for those of
It's a whole
you,
nother part of it, which we'll cover is your reads.
that's big. That's big time. So we're getting you guys all set up, getting your grip right, and it's going to be, how to practice, getting out there on the course, what to look for, how to score. But we hope you guys are having a great New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. A little post on that. But yeah, guys, send us your putter strokes, your putter swings. I don't like saying putter swings, but send us your putter setup, and we can chop it up with you guys here for this nice little mini series. This has been Tipped Out Podcast, episode 18, the basics of putting setup.
Contraband got that dope.
Sometimes I don't feel alright. New girl on my face, she said she nigga, but that's why I don't feel alright. Catch me in the good mood, I just might.
Stop talking, I'm breaking the bank. Yeah.